Hey guys, BMS here, and I hope you're ready for more Castlevania 3, because that's what's on the agenda. Now first off, right out of the gate on this level, you're greeted by two fleamen, so you kinda have to be pretty quick on the draw here. Anyway, now last time we went through Alucard's normal stage 6, so let's jump back to Sypha's path here, and knock out her 6th stage, which is also the last level outside of the castle. Now, this level has an interesting gimmick with the water, in that number 1, the heavens must have split, because apparently here it doesn't actually kill you. Granted, it's only waist high, but, you know, I digress. Details. Now, the gimmick is, however, that there's a current that will push you along. It can make it pretty difficult to move forward. Now, you couple that with the fact that you're being bombarded by mermen and those damned crows, and it can get pretty challenging. Fun fact, though, is that if you have Sypha and you use her ice spell on the water, it'll actually freeze it here for a couple of seconds, which kind of lets you walk on top of it when, you know, you can negate the current that way, which is a rather nifty effect that they included here. Now, considering that we're about at the halfway mark in the game, I guess it's only natural that the stages are starting to become more difficult. This one's a perfect example of that. It's a rather long level, and it has quite a few enemies that are placed in some rather dickish spots. But the good news is that you get to listen to another highly underrated tune, which I believe is titled Stream, and come to think of it, the title of the level itself is named The Stream, so oh boy, how fitting! Now this room here you can get into a lot of trouble just because of the fact that the enemy placement is, well, it's actually damn good to make it really challenging here. And the fact that you gotta deal with the bats that spawn, sometimes out of nowhere like that, and it can really get, you know, you can get in kind of a clusterfuck. You know, when you're dealing with the axe armor or a bone pillar. I finally got their name down right, by the way. I've been calling them bone dragons, but, you know, it can kind of overwhelm you if you're not too careful. Just take your time. There's really no need to go for any of the candles in there because they don't hold very much. Well, I think maybe the most you're going to get out of there is a knife. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. Anyway, once you make it out of there, really the extremely hard part of the level is done. And actually, this door here, I believe, is the halfway mark. Now we're back outside, and instead of dealing with water, fuck you, Crow, by the way, fuck you, yes, we get to deal with a collapsing bridge, a la, you know, Castlevania 4 on the final level. This is where it got its idea from, basically. Careful of the mermen. They usually don't start spawning until after you've made it past the collapsing part, but you still want to kind of move forward a few steps because you don't want to get caught on the piece that's going to fall into the water while you're dealing with the mermen. Anyway, climb down the steps, and holy shit, it's boss time! The Hydra guys, or whatever they're called, the water dragons we'll call them here. Now, these guys are pretty difficult. They'll never spawn directly under a platform, but if they do what they did just there and spawn on both sides of the one you're standing on, you can get kind of tricky. Now, the thing that you need to know here when dealing with these guys is that their flame that they shoot out at you, if you're 3 blocks away from them, that's how far it stretches, basically, so that should give you an idea of how far to get away from these guys. Other than that, be very careful here, because pretty much any hit that you get is going to knock you into the water, so that's what really makes this fight tough. Each dragon has half of a health bar, so of course it's hard to focus on just one because you can't tell which is which, but if you can take one out early in the game, say with the use of sub-weapons, dealing with one is a hell of a lot easier than dealing with both. Also, their fire attack here, I'm going to cover this in the differences video, but it's a hell of a lot easier to dodge in the Japanese version than it is here. This is one of those bosses that was pretty much entirely reworked in their attack pattern. Anyway, that does it for this one. Join me next time and we'll be tackling Alucard Stage 7, the last stage outside the castle for Alucard. How fun. See you then.